Today, a little different. This car belongs to a viewer of the channel, and I just want to say real quick, thank you so much for the opportunity to feature this awesome car. It was great spending the day with you and talking with you, and it was just great experience. Thank you so much for all of it. Today, 1957 DeSoto Adventure Convertible. But before we talk about this awesome car, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like. This channel, we feature the classics, vintage, some exotics. We love the orphan cars and cars that are off the beaten path. We do deep dives on all the featured cars, lots of period correct ads and perspectives that are not often shown. If that sounds like a channel you'd be interested in watching, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Also, if you'd like to get in touch with me, there are two ways. Leave a comment in the comment section. I camp out in the comment section. I read all of the comments and I answer all of the comments. It's not a computer or a secretary, it's me, and it will always be that way. The other way is we recently made a Facebook group that correlates with this channel. It gives you the opportunity to share your rides, share your memories, share your stories, your experiences with the cars. Sometimes I post previews of featured cars, period correct ads, and specs. The link is in the description. Also, if you have a YouTube channel yourself, go ahead and post your stuff from YouTube, because this group isn't really about me on Facebook. It's about the car community. Car community is for everyone. The car hobby is for everyone. So if you have a YouTube channel and you'd like to share it on there, go for it. Let's talk DeSoto brand. For those that may have never heard of DeSoto, DeSoto was named after Hernando de Soto, Spanish explorer and conquistador. DeSoto, the car, not the guy, was a brand offered by Chrysler from 1928 to 1961. In 1957, Chrysler offered 5 brands. Starting from the bottom, working all the way up. Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto was in the middle. It was the middle child. Chrysler, Imperial was at the top of the heap. 1957 DeSoto offered 4 models. The base model was the Fire Sweep, moving up to the Fire Dome, Fire Flight, and at the top was the Adventure. A little bit of background about the DeSoto Adventure. DeSoto offered the Adventure from 1956 to 1960, and it was introduced as a 4-seat, high-performance car that DeSoto made as a special limited production, and it was very similar to the Chrysler 300 letter series. The Adventure was the top-notch king of the hill for DeSoto. In 1957, the Adventure was offered in 2 flavors as the hardtop coupe. It was introduced 2 months after the lesser DeSoto models, and as a convertible, which came even later than that. One thing that makes the 1957 DeSoto Adventure really special is the engine was a 345 cubic inch displacement Hemi, making 345 horsepower. 1 horsepower per cubic inch, and it was the first car to offer that as standard. I know what you're thinking. Hold on, Jay. What about the 57 Chevy with the 283 with the fuel injection made 1 horsepower per cubic inch, or the 56 Chrysler 300B series? Those were optional engine choices. The key word here is standard. Designed by Virgil Exner. Let's talk specs. 221 inches long. It rides a wheelbase of 126 inches. Price was $4,272, which was equivalent to you spending $44,437.31 in the year 2022. This thing weighs 4,410 pounds. There's a little bit conflicting information, but that was the most weight that I saw. So that's the number we're going to go for. 0 to 60, 7.2 seconds. The owner said he gets between 5 and 15 miles per gallon. It's got it rated in the specs that I got all these other specs from around 11.7 miles per gallon. So somewhere in there, that range. It'll do the quarter mile in 16 seconds. Production numbers. Total 1957 production was 126,514, of which I'm going to throw the hardtop number in here as well. 1,650 hardtops were made, 300 convertibles. And according to the owner, there's only 11 convertibles known to survive today. On to the engine. 345 cubic inch displacement Hemi V8, 5.6 liters. It makes 345 horsepower at 5,200 RPM. 390 foot-pounds of torque at 2400 RPM. The bore is 3.80 inches and the stroke is the same, 3.80 inches. Compression is 9.25 to 1. This engine features 5 main bearings. It uses a special long-duration camshaft, hydraulic lifters. It has dual quads, and it also has a dual point distributor. Moving on to the transmission, only one transmission on offer for the DeSoto Adventure, 3-speed Torque Flight Automatic, which used push buttons. Tom McHale, the editor of Mechanics Illustrated, he was essentially the Jeremy Clarkson of the 1950s. He raved about the car and said that it was the best styled of all the Chrysler makes in 1957. To this door, look at this door panel. Just check out this armrest. I don't know if you can tell, it kind of protrudes upward. It's a very Chrysler-esque thing. It looks really cool. And it also has a grabbing point, this part down here, if you wanted to pull the door closed, or you could use the top of the door. This is how you get out. If you wanted to lock the door, you push it forward. These are all the window controls. Vent windows here. Just look at how it's designed. It's not straight. It has a dip in here. Yeah, it looks really cool. On to the button switches and knobs, starting all the way to the left. These are the push buttons for the push button transmission. 5 selections. Reverse, neutral, drive are at the top, and then you have first and second at the bottom. 1 stock coming off the steering wheel column, and that's for the turn signals. Moving to the dashboard, starting at the top, the left turn signal indicator, onto the speedometer that sits right in front of the driver. It goes all the way up to 150 miles per hour. Odometer is directly underneath it, and the right turn signal indicator is right off to the right of it. Coming back to the left-hand side, we're going to do the gauges first, and then we'll do the switches on top. Oil pressure, amps. The switch all the way to the left, right underneath the turn signal indicators for the lights, and then the wipers. Coming back to the right side of the steering wheel, the blower and defrost is all on one switch. Then you have the ignition switch. Right below the blower is the fuel gauge, and right below the ignition switch is the temperature gauge. In the center of the dashboard is the radio, and just to the right of the radio is this really beautiful clock. Coming into the pedal box down here, that's the high beam switch. Owner put this toggle switch in, and that's for the interior lights. This is your handbrake. This switch right here controls the convertible top. Look at how big this brake pedal is in reference to my hand, and the gas pedal over there. This DeSoto only had 2 options: air conditioning and the hi-fi radio record player, which this is. It plays 45s. Over here, this is where the ashtray is located. That's where that would be. Right here, right below the radio, this controls the heater. All right, on to the glove box test. Just for a size reference, that's my hand. This is the camera that we shoot all the cinematic shots with, and this is the glove box. Now, if the camera doesn't fit in the glove box, that doesn't make it a bad car. I just like shoving big objects into small places, it looks like, because it doesn't look like it would be that big. But they are, so it fits in there. Also notice there's a light right above it, so that's really cool. So if at night you have to get anything out of the glove box, you can see what you're doing. This is what the over the hood impression would look like if you were right behind the wheel. Notice there is a mirror on the dashboard instead of up where it generally is. And here's the sun visor situation. There's no courtesy mirrors on the driver's side.
Yeah, there's none on the other side either.
Yeah, none on the passenger side either. But just check out, this would be first person if you were driving it. This is what it would look like. And then this is how much space you would have underneath the steering wheel. There's adequate space if you're about the same.
A lot smaller than you are.
Yeah. There's adequate space there. And this is a convertible, so the top will go down, and this is about how much headroom you have with the top up. But just check out the top, all the ribbings. All right, getting in the back. These seats don't lock, so you just push them out of the way. And I love the fact that it goes all the way forward. Some cars don't. They stop at a certain place. And then you pull the seat back. Oh man, there's plenty of room. I love DeSotos. I've been in 2 DeSotos so far for this channel, and both of them are like, they're almost like limos because there's just so much space back here. And the seat, like, look at the seat profile. You can see that it's not completely straight up. It's kind of reclined back a little bit, so it's really comfortable back here. You don't feel, it's not claustrophobic at all. And like, despite, because the seat's reclined a little bit, there's as much headroom back here as there is in the front seat. But here's what the ashtrays look like. So there's the back seat. Notice the lights back here. It's really cool how there's lights. There's ashtrays for both passengers and a nice armrest for both sides. And just check out how much space you have back there. The owner just showed me that little button right there. It activates the rear interior lights, and you can turn them on and off at your disposal back here in the rear, but it's only on the driver's side. Coming down here to show you this. This is where the exhaust ports used to be. They used to route them through the bumpers, but what ended up happening is it would get too hot and it would rain, and then they would rust out, and sometimes they would get really hot. Like if you drove this car in the snow in the north where we live, it would start to get salt and stuff on it, and then it'd start to rust, and then it would get so hot that it would start melting these lenses. So a lot of times guys would reroute the exhaust to a different location because these bumpers aren't easy to find, and if you do find them, they're not cheap. So just check out this trunk. All the spare tire components to change the spare tire are in this center, this hub. The jack is back here mounted so it doesn't take up any extra space. It's got a fire extinguisher, which is smart. And just, you could put all of your friends in the back of this trunk and go to the movie. This is the fuel. This is where the fuel comes down into the tank. It's kind of cool to see it there. And notice you have all the storage spaces underneath the fins. So the owner was just showing me some literature. His has quad headlights. Evidently in January, that was the cutoff because it was...
Anything before January 1st, 57 had to have the single headlights.
It was government regulation, yes, or something like that.
Well, it was also in the States too. The States had to okay it.
Nice. But I've never even seen one of these. But I love how it has the whole Virgil Exner forward look logo.
Just this book right here is for judging. It tells you just exactly what you have to do if you want to judge, if you want the car judged at an event that has like concours or something like that.
Nice. So if you want to have a 100-point car, this is what you have to go by. I'm just gonna flip through this one real quick.
That is a complete rebuild book and everything.
See, and that's how far we've come as a society. Like, when you bought one of these cars back in the day, you could literally fix it yourself. Nowadays, they say, don't drink the antifreeze. Don't put the battery cables on your body parts. That's how far we've come as a society. So just check out this engine. It's a Hemi. It's got dual air cleaners. Try to find one of these air cleaners. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Notice it's dual quads. He's got not air conditioners. He's got air cleaners for both carburetors, and that's what these are.
It's a 345 horse, 345 cube.
Nice. 1 horsepower per cubic inch.
Mm-hmm. It was the only year.
Look at all the belts. He's got 3 belts running.
On to the pros and cons section. I am getting all of these pros and cons from the complete book of collectible cars, Blue Chip Auto Investment, 70 years from 1930 to 2000 by Richard M. Langworth and the Auto Editors of Consumer Guide. On the positive side, there are very desirable, Good appreciation potential, fine performance, great on the highway. Against it, the first in a long line of Mopar Rusters. Many body parts are hard to find and they have high operating costs. On to name that tune, I'm looking for the correct band as well as correct title of the song. First person to do that will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. That song seems very fitting for this car. Anyway, if you dig the content, please give us a like so more people can see this video in the future. Please share it with anybody that you know that likes classic cars, because we're trying to grow I'm hoping that one day this will be one of the go-to classic car channels on the tube. And until next time, toodaloo!